Alrighty, it's 6:32 as promised. Good evening, all. Welcome to our webinar on whole home energy efficiency. This webinar is brought to you by Carbon Free Fairfax, which is an initiative brought by Fairfax County Government's Office of Environmental and Energy Coordination. The Carbon Free Fairfax program is an initiative that envisions just a future for Fairfax County, one that is healthy, sustainable, economically prosperous without greenhouse gas emissions. We're bringing to you a slate of webinars. This is our second in the past 2 weeks, and this one is going to be a great one to listen to. As a few housekeeping rules, we are going to be recording this webinar. It will be on our site sometime within the next week. Additionally, as you may have noted, all participants are muted. We will ask that you use the chat function on your screen to submit any questions. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the day today. So if you look on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, you'll see kind of a chat bubble, and that's where you can access the chat. First things first, I would like to do some introductions. So I'm going to introduce myself first. I'm Sarah Durello. I'm with the Fairfax County Office of Environmental and Energy Coordination, and I'm a climate mitigation specialist. I will be your host tonight. In addition, I do have two members of my staff or my colleagues on this call, Kate Daly and Emily Bohr, and they're also potentially going to be talking with you all or providing assistance. I would like to now take the opportunity to introduce our guest panelist. He is awesome. He is our energy expert. This is Dan Cronin. He's a program manager with Energy Star. Energy Star is under the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA. Just as a quick background, as a program manager for Energy Star, for the past 7 years, Dan has worked with retailers, manufacturers, and utilities to encourage consumers to purchase Energy Star products. He also makes educational materials, digital tools to simplify the world of energy efficiency. So he is our expert tonight. We will, as I mentioned, have a question and answer session at the end, so please feel free to use that chat tool. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Dan. Please introduce yourself and get started.
Okay, thank you, Sarah, and thank you to Fairfax for hosting this little chat and for having me on. Hi everyone, I'm Dan Cronin. I work at EPA, and I work for the Energy Star program, the products side of things. And what I'm going to talk about today is how folks in Fairfax can, depending on if they're a homeowner, if they're a renter, depending on what your situation is, how can you save energy? And if you want to skip to the end, if you want the shortest version, is to look for the Energy Star. That's the short version. But I don't think you guys are here because you want the short version. You want a little bit more in depth. So I'm going to share some slides with you. Yeah. And yeah, so just let me know if you can still see me and see the slides and everything, just to make sure everything's going well. So very quickly, for the uninitiated, what is Energy Star and why is it so great? So Energy Star has been around for 30 years. It's the original symbol of sustainability because we started 30 years ago, in 1992, with one product category, and we expanded to over 75 product categories. The principle is simple. What we do is look for an efficient product in a given product category, and if there is an opportunity to identify basically the top, generally speaking, the top quartile of those products, top 25%, there's a good chance there might be an Energy Star program for that product category. So from humble beginnings to now this, for every $1 EPA has spent on the Energy Star program, the private sector has added $250 of its own investment. And for every $1 of EPA investment in our program, American individuals and businesses save over $350. So in terms of bang for the buck, it's up there with some of the best programs. So we cover consumer products, new residential construction, commercial buildings, and industrial plants. But for this audience, I'm going to focus on Energy Star products because there are probably a lot of homeowners, probably a lot of renters in Fairfax. And I'm sure what's on everyone's mind is, inflation and energy costs. And it's important to think about what can you control? What can you control in your home, right? So the efficiency of our appliances, electronics, HVAC, and other things that use energy, those are the things that we can control and make sure that those things are energy efficient. So, right, so these are just a smattering of this over 75 categories that we do cover, but it's a really varied mix of products. People might not know that smart thermostats, pool pumps, water heaters are also Energy Star certified. And just so you know, I'll mention this, that every Energy Star product has to be tested in a laboratory that's capable of doing the test, and then certified by a separate certification body, just to make sure that we're building trust in the actual performance of these products. It's not just, we're not taking anyone at their word. We're putting the products through a rigorous series of tests, depending on which product you're talking about. And we, after the fact, go and verify the performance of those products off the shelf. So in 2019 alone, Energy Star and its partners helped Americans save nearly 500 billion kilowatt hours of electricity and avoid $39 billion in energy costs. So if it uses a significant amount of energy in a home, there's a good chance that there's an Energy Star category for it. But Fairfax, you all should know that the Fairfax County Public School System is an Energy Star Partner of the Year, I think Sustained Excellence winner, which means that they've won it for many, many years in a row. They work on the buildings, the commercial building side of our program. So that means that they are taking measures to reduce their energy consumption from a building level, which saves all of you money because you don't want to be wasting money on inefficient buildings. So I thought I would mention that. And next, right, so how to get Energy Star products. There are many utility programs and rebates available for consumers all across the country, but also in Fairfax County. So Dominion Power, I believe, is the utility there. And I'm going to show you in a few slides, actually, some great opportunities that you all are eligible for as Fairfax residents. They have special pricing on Energy Star products on an e-tail website, essentially an online marketplace, that you prove where you live, and then boom, you get an extra rebate on whichever product category they offer. And the reason is because they're very efficient products and they help you save money, and it helps reduce Dominion's probably peak demand when it's super, super hot out. So, right, so utility rebates, they drive Energy Star product sales as well, and Energy Star adoption because they lower those bills. And part of the, I'll just mention this, that part of the energy divide is that lower, these products are not always at the price point we wish they were. So the utilities actually can help bridge that divide with these rebates. So these aren't available everywhere. It depends on the utility, but you all just so happen to have a utility that does offer them. So I'll go through that a little bit further on. If you're curious as to what you might be eligible for, we have a great rebate finder on our website, energystar.gov/rebate finder. Put in your zip code and all of the rebates that you're eligible for will come up. But also, this is just a glimpse of the online marketplace that Dominion put out there now, and I might even put it in the chat at some point if you all are curious. But it is an online marketplace specifically for you all, and it covers smart thermostats, light bulbs, EV chargers, and I think a couple other things, different kinds of lighting. So not enough people know this exists, and not enough people know that utilities create these specific marketplaces specific to their own territory to save people even more money. So that's just an added bonus. So homeowners, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Energy Star Home Upgrade. This is a new program that Energy Star is putting together to decarbonize the home. And what does that mean? It means that the product that you're putting into your home is going to lower your electricity bills. It's also going to mitigate climate change, because this is also something that helps reduce the demand for electricity. And that is definitely one measure you can take to push your home into the 21st century. So in the Energy Star Home Upgrade, we chose 6 product categories that will deeply decarbonize a home and make radical change to your home that will save a ton of money as well. So on average, with these 6 changes, the homeowners could save in the range of $500 a year on utility bills, which is a considerable amount when you add it up, year over year, how much your utility bills might cost. So it includes clean heat, so that's the central air conditioner or a heat pump, super efficient hot water, which is from a heat pump water heater. The heat pump water heaters are an amazing device. They in the summer months, they dehumidify a space, and they actually provide a little bit of air conditioning. They run on electricity, so they're just a fantastic device. Smart thermostats, high performing windows or storm windows, attic insulation, and then also an Energy Star electric vehicle charger to get your home ready for an electric vehicle, if you're so inclined. So let's keep going down the list. So that is the Energy Star Home Upgrade. That is going to dovetail along with the, and we'll get to this a little bit farther on, availability of tax credits, as well as the new tax credits that were put into the IRA bill. Although I think the details are being still hashed out as to how that's going to roll out. So I don't want to say anything certain that I'm not 100% certain on at this point, but there will be more attainable, highly efficient products available over the next decade for sure as a result. So your tax credits that are available now are for air source heat pumps, central air conditioning, gas, propane, or oil hot water boiler, gas, propane, or oil furnaces and fans, water heaters, non-solar water heaters, they exist, and advanced main air circulating fans. So if you've installed any of these things this year, there is going to be a slight tax credit for this next year. The new tax credits that last a decade, that begins January 1st of 2023, which we will go through. In terms of specifics for these particular tax credits, it covers up 10% of the cost up to $500, or a specific amount from $50 to $300, and it has to be your primary household. There are more links and with a longer explanation of what you should be looking for and what you could be eligible for on our website. So I'm happy to answer any questions there. Right, so the future tax credits, 2023 and beyond, the list of products changes and expands. So you're talking about heat pump water heaters, like I mentioned before, heat pumps for air conditioning and heat, biomass stove and boilers, insulation, windows, exterior doors, because they can be leaky a little bit, central air conditioners, actually natural gas, propane, oil water heaters, as well as boilers and furnaces. This is an important one. Electric panel upgrades. A lot of homes, to be able to use all this electric equipment, will probably need electric panel upgrades. So this has nothing to do with Energy Star specifically, but you will be, if in your primary household, starting 2023, you will be able to get a discount or some sort of subsidy related to electric panels, because there just has to be more electrons flowing through your home, as well as energy audits, which can be very useful to pinpoint which technologies would be ideal for your specific home. Right. So the tax credits are mostly limited to 30% of the project cost. The previous lifetime cap of $500 has been changed to an annual cap of either $1,200 to $2,000, depending on the efficiency improvements you make, and that's per year. So you might be able to do one project one year and then focus on another project the next year, and that's probably how things will roll out. This means you'll be able to claim credit for more projects over the next decade. So for tenants, there is, especially for tenants of business space or commercial space, Energy Star has this program called Energy Star Tenant Space. So I don't know if there are any like small business owners on the webinar, but just so you know, this program exists, and it is a way for you to get credit for lighting your space more efficiently. If you have control over which type of HVAC systems you're using, get credit for that. And it's a great program that acknowledged a segment of the economy that previously didn't have a program. So that is great. And then if you're a residential renter, the best thing, and actually pretty amazing savings you get from lighting, for every Energy Star bulb you change out from a halogen bulb, you save $4 per bulb per year. And the Energy Star bulbs last 12 years. So the average home has 45 sockets, which it does. You know, that, do the math, and you're saving a ton of money every year. That is the lowest cost, highest ROI for anyone, tenant or otherwise. So this was a rapid pace overview of what Energy Star is and how Energy Star can help you as Fairfax homeowners or renters or business owners. And you may have other specific questions on your mind, and I'm happy to answer all of those if you have them. So with that.
Awesome. So thank you, Dan. We actually have a few questions for you already. And then for anyone participating in today's webinar, you are able to add questions to the chat, and then we will be pulling those questions to ask Dan as well. So please start typing now if you have any questions. So the first thing that we were hoping that you could kind of share with us again is about Energy Star products. So what do you guys look at when you get new products? How do you certify that something is Energy Star rated?
Sure. So like a new product category, like how do we expand the portfolio?
Or just a new product. So say LG is wanting to come out with a washer. How do you certify that that washer will be Energy Star? Or what are you looking for?
Sure. So we actually we have a whole team on the product side of things, and I work hand in hand with them every day. Very technical people, usually engineers, who work with manufacturers, utilities, even retailers, just experts, subject matter experts, to determine what is an efficient, like you said, clothes washer. Is there a way that we can identify the top 25%, roughly speaking, performing clothes washers? And clothes washers have been a great category for us for well over 20 years. So yeah, that we will work on a very deep technical level with the manufacturers and the engineers to devise very specific technical requirements to create eligibility and minimum performance standards. For clothes washers, off the top of my head, I forget the actual minimum levels, but I do know we have not only usually our levels are restricted to electricity, but for clothes washers, it also has a water efficiency measure. So not only are your clothes washers, your Energy Star clothes washers, saving electricity, but you're also reducing water use with every wash compared to a non-Energy Star product. And I alluded to this before, but it's worth repeating. Every Energy Star product has to be tested in a third-party lab. And then once that lab report gets produced against the test methods that we set out, that lab report goes to a certification body. That certification body compares our specification to the results of the test. And if the product meets, it gets the thumbs up. And so we actually don't have direct control over which products are on our own website. It's up to the third-party certification system to do that.
And so you just alluded to something there, and I would like to just reiterate for people. So Energy Star does have a list of products in these categories on your website. So
Right.
if anyone's looking to upgrade their home, upgrade some of their appliances, they can actually check out your website and find those products and kind of see how you guys compared them.
That's right. Yeah. All of it is on our website. Yes. Um,
Awesome.
yep.
Awesome. So kind of on that same note, can you give us a sneak peek on maybe some new technology that's coming through that you've seen, or where do you
Sure.
think energy efficiency is going?
Oh, well, energy itself is getting more expensive. So the more we can save, the better off we will all be. And you know, the more efficient your home, your car, whatever, however much money you're spending on energy every year, the more predictable you can make your energy bills, the more resilient you will be. You know, the more resilient your budget will be at the end of the month. Um, so yeah, it's not just a climate change mitigation program. It's also a let's try to control our costs program as well. You know, as a homeowner, I think plenty of people think of uh, the electricity bill or like the utility bill as like this fixed cost, and it doesn't have to be a fixed cost. You can meaningfully reduce your utility bill with Energy Star products. And a preview of new products off the top of my head, and this is all public. You know, we come out with these scoping reports as to what could be a new product category, and one of the uh, product categories that we're looking at, we're not sure whether or not it's going to be an Energy Star product, is electric lawn equipment. So like things like weed whackers and lawnmowers, anything with you know, petrol engine that could be you know, battery operated, similar product. We're looking at that right now at a very early stage, but it is it's definitely a learning experience and a little bit different than things that we've done in the past. I know basically everybody in Fairfax has a lawn, right? So that might be interesting in a couple of years from now.
For certain, and that's super cool to share. You know, a lot of people don't think energy efficiency could go to something as small as how they mow their lawn, how they trim, um, I guess, their bushes in their garden. And so that's really
Right.
cool to know that's where the field is starting to go.
Mhm.
I wanted to shift a little bit to the Energy Star Home upgrade,
Mhm.
6 impact actions. So, for a lot of us on the call, we may not be able to, or for some of us on the call, I don't want to make assumptions. We may not be able to afford every single action.
Right.
If there were a few actions on that list to prioritize as we start moving to home efficiency, which ones would you recommend?
Sure. So the lowest cost one is going to be the Energy Star Smart Thermostat. And that I'm proud to say I helped create that specification like a decade ago. And it is a great product category, even if you aren't going to go for all the other more expensive upgrades. The idea is that when you install an Energy Star smart thermostat, doesn't matter the brand, that it's going to save you energy by either learning your energy habits to make sure that you're still comfortable, but at the same time, it figures out ways that it could, turn off the HVAC when no one's home, when it doesn't need to be. All of which can be overridden if you want to do that, but there are little strategies that the different manufacturers create to save a meaningful amount of energy, and that doesn't require a major upgrade to your HVAC system, which is also in the Energy Star Home Upgrade. That's a good start.
Awesome. As a start as well, I think it's hard to know where we should make energy upgrades or energy efficiency projects. Is there any tips or something you can suggest for a homeowner um, to start with or to do to kind of understand where they are in the efficiency kind of realm?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first thing I would probably do is, I mean, you can get an energy audit. There are energy audit companies that actually work with Energy Star, a different side of our program, to very thorough energy audits of your home. There's this like pretty elaborate test called kind of like a blower door test, where they put plastic around your windows, and they will put a harmless smoke through one entryway, and then just see where the smoke ends up to see how leaky your ducts could be in your home, or if the smoke is leaking out from windows or doors or things like that. So that is, if you're really serious about doing an energy audit for your home, that's a really great way to do. But if you don't want to go through all that, I would probably start with asking yourself, like, well, how old are your appliances? If they're over 20 years old, they're using way more energy than they have to be. And I know that it's an expense, it's an added expense, but the not only has Energy Star moved the needle in terms of efficiency, but the Department of Energy, who requires the bare minimum performance, has also moved up considerably in the last 20 years as well. So yeah, tons of, you're leaving energy efficiency on the table if you're not looking at that. And then one step even below that, I would what I would tell my parents is look at how many halogen bulbs you have in your home, take them out and put an Energy Star LED in all of the sockets that you have, because that is super cheap, super simple, and actually very meaningful to your home if you only light your home with halogen bulbs. So
That's super awesome, super helpful. Actually, kind of related to your last point, I am a renter personally. I rent here in Fairfax County. And I know you mentioned bulbs as one of the things I can do.
mhm.
Is there tips or tricks that people can do, maybe renters, to become more energy efficient that maybe doesn't cost too much?
Hmm.
Whether that's habit changing or just something we can do day to day that we might not realize?
Sure. I mean, there are, simple things that are just common sense things that we should all be doing, which is, if you're going to be gone on vacation, don't leave your air conditioner running and things like that. Believe it or not, some people do. And in some climates, like in the Southeast, where it's very hot and humid, I completely understand that there's actually a purpose behind that. You don't want to just leave the home to become, all gross. But in Fairfax specifically, common sense things, turning things off when you leave. If you don't have control over what appliances in your home, just focusing on what you can control, because you're probably paying your own utility bill, even if you're renting. Um, I wish there was more to say there, because it is very important, but the significant reductions in energy efficiency would be, probably they would have to go through a landlord or a management company to make those more significant upgrades. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm personally facing. I have a management company and we did get smart thermostats, but we
Good.
don't really have any training on it. So
Hmm.
I think if I'm correct, Energy Star might have some guidance on how to use some of these upgrades once you make them or once you have them. Is that correct?
We do. Yeah. And do you mean specifically for smart thermostats, or do you mean
Just
otherwise?
in general, all of the upgrades that we're suggesting today, in addition to smart thermostats, which, as you mentioned, is the smallest one we can do.
For sure, for sure. Yes, there's tons of info on EnergyStar.gov about, once you've made this, the reasons why to make these upgrades, but also once you've done it, especially in like the insulation and we used to cover roofing, but we no longer cover roofing. But windows, doors, skylights, and insulation. There's a lot of guidance. There's helpful videos that we even have on our website. So yeah, highly recommend you check those out because there is a little bit more in-depth guidance.
Awesome. And we can definitely link and direct you guys in the webinar to find those pages. I want to stop with my questions and allow for some audience questions. So I'm actually going to turn over to Kate to ask the first audience question. Hey, Kate, I don't think your microphone's working. But I am happy to ask the first question. It looks like Marie asked, last time I looked, there wasn't an Energy Star rebate on high efficiency tankless water heaters. Will they be added to the list one day soon?
Well, um, natural gas tankless water heaters are covered by Energy Star under the water heater specification. They're an amazing product, actually, especially if you have a vacation home where you're not using it for long stretches of time. A tankless water heater is a great option because you're not needlessly heating a 60-gallon tank of water, 24/7. Um, and the on-demand, hot water is fantastic. You don't really have to wait too long for hot water to come through the faucet. But in terms of rebates, that is entirely up to the utility. So the utility program managers will make a determination as to what technologies they think are going to be the most impactful and what fits into their budget, because they only have a limited amount of money that they have to work with. So they want to make sure that people adopt these energy efficient technologies within their territory within a certain amount of time too. So that all of those factors go into the decision-making process of what gets into a utility rebate program. But it could be worth asking, Dominion if they have any plans to do that. I'm not sure.
Awesome. Thank you. We have our next question, which is, can you talk a little more details about tax credits for central air conditioning systems?
Sure. So what I understand is that under the new, starting January 1st, central air conditioners are going to be eligible for what is up to 30% of the project cost, the total project cost. It had been the previous lifetime cap of $500 was increased. Depends on which technology you're talking about, and there's still to be determined guidance that's going to come out that will make this a little bit more clear. We're not the ones determining that. So there is either going to be an annual cap of $1,200 or $2,000, depending on the efficiency improvements you make. So central air conditioners and air source heat pumps and that sort of thing, when you're doing a big replacement like that, it can cost many thousands of dollars to do, but it also can make the most meaningful change in your home when you're replacing an inefficient old boiler or furnace or something like that, especially in a pretty temperate climate like Northern Virginia. It's a very viable technology. So the bottom line is they're going to be eligible for more than they are today. How much more, I don't know yet, but we will find out.
Awesome. We have a next comment that actually has a little bit of a question in it. So on the EPA Energy Star website, it doesn't quite have updates with the Inflation Reduction Act on there yet. Do you have any thoughts on when that webpage may be updated, or
Yep.
how individuals can find more information on the act? Because I know you
Right.
mentioned all of the changes.
Right. So all of the basically the parameters for what's in the new bill, what's in the new law, and what's out, all of that is being determined right now by other agencies. So guidance as to what is specifically in and the amounts of money that people are going to be eligible for, either by tax credits or by a state rebate plan or both, that will be more clear in the coming months. And I think that is an active topic of discussion. So when you find out, we will also find out, and we'll update our website to make sure everything is accurate.
Great. And related to funding and rebates, for those of us who really do want to make these upgrades but need financial help, is there any place that someone can go for added support? Maybe weatherization programs? Is there anything out there that can really assist folks with getting these projects started?
Okay, I didn't do my research in terms of the overlap with Fairfax, but there are many programs across the country that are usually run by the local utility that are basically like income eligible programs where if I think if you make under a certain amount of money, depending on where you are in the country, you will be eligible for weatherization, like you said, or just a suite of different energy efficient products because the energy efficiency of your home is a very significant matter because you are spending a significant percentage of your total income on your utility bill. So yeah, in different parts of the country, those types of programs exist. I'm not so sure. I don't know one way or the other in regards to Fairfax, but I'm sure that's just a Google search away.
Awesome. Thank you. And as Dan noted, we do have a few weatherization programs in the county that are sponsored by the state. We actually do have a web page on this, and I can link it to people, and that can kind of tell you if you do qualify for these programs. Generally, it's for low income or age qualifying.
Mhm.
But Dominion also does offer similar programs if you're in the Dominion service area. I know some of you on this webinar may be in the Novec service area, but everything we've talked about other than the rebates would still, the Dominion specific rebates may qualify for you. I know Novec does have some programs as well. Dan somewhat hit on this as well. There's also potentially programs through your gas company. Washington Gas or Columbia Gas also may have programs and efficiency kits and things of that sort that you may be able to get for free through them. So we
Mhm.
always recommend looking to your utilities as well.
Yeah.
So we had another question. This one's a little bit different. We actually had a webinar on this last week, and it's in regards to EV ready. What does that mean under the home energy upgrade initiative?
Yeah, so it means a couple of things. If you're charging your car at your home, you have to probably upgrade your electric panel because it draws quite a bit of energy all at once. In older homes that have electric panels from the middle of the 20th century, which is when a lot of homes in Fairfax were built, it might stress the electric system of your home. So, like any electrician can help install an electric panel upgrade, which I also mentioned is part of the suite of products in the Inflation Reduction Act that are intended to enable you to plug more things into your home without there being an issue. So that is step one. And then step two is having an Energy Star charger in your home. We cover level 2 chargers If you're familiar with the lingo, that's generally speaking, if you own an electric vehicle, you probably have a level 2 charger at your home. It charges your um, car at I think it's about 240 volts, kind of like the same electricity that would go into a dryer, let's say. Um, and that, make sure that whenever you're getting an electric vehicle charger, that you're getting an Energy Star one, because ours are safety certified as well. That was a big aspect of the specification. When we were creating that specification, there was a lot of unknown stuff out there, and we wanted to make sure that when you're drawing all that power through one very small device, that people have a good experience with it. So we wanted to make sure that it was safety certified as well as being efficient.
Awesome. Thank you for hitting on that. Something that is kind of an interesting question. If folks like to DIY their houses and kind of try and do energy efficiency on their own, are
Mhm.
there any projects that you think would be appropriate for a DIYer, or what projects may need to go through an installer?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on the competence of the person, or the confidence of the person. Because, a DIY to one person is not a DIY to another. So, I would say just use your best judgment when it comes to DIY stuff, um, especially when it comes to dangerous stuff like electricity. You can really hurt yourself if you're not trained to handle it. And an electrician, they're safety certified. They know what they're doing. They've been doing it their whole lives, and they can make any kind of electrical project super super easy, and they're generally worth the cost that I found in my own life. Um, so that is the caveat I would just say. But in terms of DIY that are super simple, um, smart thermostats are generally pretty easy to install. But some like major retailers and even some of the manufacturers offer a network of installers if you really just want to have somebody else do it quickly. Once you dig into the wall and see all those wires in there, it can be a little intimidating. So, yeah, there are very capable people out there who can help with that. And if you're a super DIYer, I've heard people doing insulation on their own. I mean, for as long as I've been alive. So we offer Energy Star insulation. That's part of the Energy Star home upgrade. I was just on a call today, and I'd heard that basically 90% of homes in America are under insulated. So it just means that more air is passing through your walls and your roof and your attic than should be. And 100 years ago, that was actually an advantage. You wanted a lot of air cycling in and out of your home because you probably had a fireplace. But now we don't have, generally speaking, we don't have fireplaces that are, serving the purpose of heating our home in the winter. We have much more efficient, devices to do that. So that might be a more attainable DIY project, is doing your insulation in your attic.
Awesome. That's super helpful. And I think a lot of people don't, realize that there's so much that we can do. There's probably more that we can do than we can't do to our homes. I know as a renter, I'm a little bit not able to do much, but I can change my habits, which is great. We have another question in the chat, and this is actually a really cool, it's a good one.
Mhm.
If we have a gas water heater now and it needs replacement, what is your recommendation towards becoming carbon free?
Yeah, well, if you're even asking the question, you're way ahead of the curve, because too often the only time a water heater gets replaced in a home is when there's a leak and there's water on the basement floor, and you rush to find something new. And when you're rushing to make a decision, you don't have enough time to do the research. So you're doing the research, so that's great. So that's step one. To your question is pretty specific. Carbon free. There's really no carbon free technology unless you're getting 100% renewable energy and then putting that through, transmitting that to your home, and you're using electricity. And so that would be the only way that would be necessarily carbon free. But in terms of savings and carbon reductions, any Energy Star water heater will do great. If you just want a little bit of savings for a little bit of cost, there are tank natural gas Energy Star water heaters right now as we speak. The in the new in the new Inflation Reduction Act, heat pump water heaters are a major source of energy reduction, and the manufacturers, as well as just energy efficiency advocates, we all basically know that there has to be a major installation of these products because they're so useful and energy efficient. I may be actually understating things, but I think for every electric heat pump water heater that you install, you save like $200 a year. And I think that might be understating things just off the top of my head. So they're very, very much more efficient than the technology that it's replacing. Any plumber, if you call them up, they will be able to help you. It's generally not a DIY project, but again, if you're very handy, you might want to try it. They're a little bit larger, slightly larger than a natural gas tank water heater because they have a heat pump on the top. And what makes those so fantastic is that they just move heat from one place to another. They're not, using or burning either natural gas or using heating coils from electricity to heat your water. It's literally taking the energy from the ambient air around the water heater, moving it in, kind of like a reverse refrigerator, and then applying or moving that heat into the water. So it's a super efficient way to heat your water.
And Cindy had a clarifying question. She wanted to know if, when you were talking about kind of how to be carbon free, if you meant solar panels to power, or kind of what do you recommend?
Well, you absolutely can get solar panels for your home. We don't cover them. Energy Star does not cover them because what we try to do is identify a product, that is inefficient, and then find a product of the same type that's efficient, and then put the label on the efficient product. So solar panels aren't replacing anything specific, to your roof or anything. So that's why we don't cover them. But there are great options available. Solar for your home is getting cheaper, and it's a great way to reduce your energy costs as well. But what I actually was talking about was, what is your utility doing, or how are they generating electricity? Are they burning coal and natural gas, or are they using nuclear or solar or wind to generate power and then send it to your home? Both are great. Both are great to have. Solar, wind, even nuclear are basically carbon free, and then moving those electrons that were created with either the sun or the wind, or through nuclear degeneration, steam power, essentially, to your home.
Exactly. And so, as you guys may know, we are tied to a grid. Depending on if you have Dominion Energy or Novec, they are providing the power to you through the PJM grid. And the way that they're receiving power is kind of how green our grid is. There is the Virginia Clean Economy Act, which is requiring our utilities to become more clean and use more renewable energy. So our grid's going to get cleaner. But if you get solar panels on your home, you're helping that grid get cleaner as well. There is another question. This one's from Marie, and she wanted to know if there's any Energy Star attic fans. She wants to replace hers with solar powered fans, but she would, go for an Energy Star approved one if they have them.
I think years ago we actually used to cover them, but I'm not sure if we have attic fans anymore. I know we do have ventilation fans, like ones that you would find in like a bathroom or something like that. But I don't believe we cover attic fans specifically. Kind of a niche product category. But definitely an important one especially if you're doing an attic upgrade of some kind. It's important to keep the air moving as well. So yeah, wish we had an answer for you, but sorry.
We've got another question. I apologize. I know quite a few are coming through the chat right now, so I apologize if I missed your question. If so, please re-add it to the chat, copy and paste. We have another one, which is how does a heat pump water heater compare to a tankless water heater, and are tankless water heaters ENERGY STAR rated?
Yeah, so they're both water heaters, but that's basically where the similarities end. So a tankless water heater, it's about this big. It sits usually in a basement or a well-ventilated area. Generally speaking, like over 99% of tankless water heaters are natural gas powered. And they can save money compared to traditional low efficiency natural gas water heater, like a 40-gallon or 60-gallon tank. But the savings are not as dramatic as the ENERGY STAR heat pump water heater, which is electric. That's why the ENERGY STAR heat pump water heaters are more readily available for, if you're trying to decarbonize your home, you're not combusting a fossil fuel in your home, which, then have to be vented out. You're just using electricity and a lot less of it with the heat pump water heater.
Awesome. I'm looking through the chat. I think we've got almost all of them. I do see, a comment from Meredith. She just wanted to share she wishes that ENERGY STAR would become a clean ENERGY STAR program and getting off of natural gas, and that the advice would be getting your panel ready for full electrification, expecting that hot water and air heating will be made in an emergency need situation. She just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Meredith.
Awesome. Okay, so we're almost out of time here. I want to thank everyone for all of their questions. I'm going to close the question and answer session here. And I wanted to turn it over to Dan to see if he had any last comments, and then we'll close out.
No, just thank you so much for having me, and for all the folks who joined tonight. I think the future of energy efficiency is very bright, but it depends on whether or not you go to the store asking for ENERGY STAR. And so whenever you have a project, think, how am I going to save energy? Look for the little blue logo that you'll see on refrigerators and water heaters and all sorts of appliances and things like that. So appreciate your time.
Thank you. So we wanted to thank you again for joining us on this webinar. As we mentioned at the beginning, this is a carbon-free Fairfax webinar. We may have more in the future, so please take a look at our website, which is listed below. You're also welcome to email us at carbonfreefairfax@fairfaxcounty.gov if you have any questions or concerns. We have the ENERGY STAR handle right here in the ENERGY STAR website, so you can kind of check out what Dan was sharing with us today. Again, thank you so much to Dan. This recording will be made on our website and also sent to all attendees. Thank you again. Please feel free to reach out and do not hesitate to let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Again, thank you, Dan. Thank you all for participating.